Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today, we're diving deep into the heart of the entertainment industry as I answer why movies and TV shows are starting to lose their spark in recent time. For me, I think it just has to do with using the same protagonist or same past of the protagonists. Like, what I mean by that is like every character in a movie or TV show always have to have a tragic life. It doesn't necessarily have to be a depressed character, even though that's also being over redundant. But that trope is for the anime universe. But it still aligns with what I mean about why TV shows, movies, and animes have become so dull lately. As a lot of the trope of having a tough life is getting so boring. Like in the past, like in the 1970s, 1980s, the muscular man, perfect man started to get dull and boring from 1970 to 1980 or to 1990. I can't really give the timeline and I'm too lazy to search it up. But that became boring because it was over redundant. It then got replaced with what we have today, having a tragic character, have a tragic life, and making that tragic life his reason for becoming the hero of the story or the movie or the TV show. While I'm not going to take away anything from recent iterations from books, movies, or anything, it's just that people are now losing things to write already because of that. Like, I can't blame them because it was so successful, but I just hated that it's just a copy paste of something. It's just that everybody has their own take on it. Certain things work. It does work actually. Today it does really work. I mean, Arcane is a prime example. I mean, it had a depressed protagonist, and like everybody there had a tough life, but they went over it. It worked, but it didn't really make it its vocal point in a sense. Like, yes, it was the reasoning for like Jinx or just Jinx. I'll just use it. I forgot the protagonist's name, to be honest. Oh, Vi, yeah, Vi. Like, they didn't particularly make it their goal to revenge their parents, to be honest. It's the show started off with them losing their parents, but they didn't make it its vocal point. They just wanted to survive. They just wanted freedom. That's what they wanted. They didn't want to get revenge in a sense. They just wanted freedom. They just want to be treated fairly. That worked well. And even if it followed the same trope of what I hate about like how the over redundant thing of like TV shows using the tough life character is that it doesn't make it into its vocal point. Arcane was a good show because they didn't particularly stray away from their tough life. Instead, they just made it its what do you call that? Its middle ground. Like, it didn't really make it its whole emphasis in the storyline. They just wanted freedom. It's what I keep saying repeatedly. I'm sorry about that, but that's just how I see it. It was fun because it was somewhat fresh. It took a fresh take on a very overused trope. Other prime examples I can give is like the MCU and the DCEU. Every freaking character is all depressed. I mean, I get it, it's because they're following it from the comics. But even if they just make it everybody like depressed. I really like Aquaman because he was somewhat the new trope of it. Like in the comics, he didn't particularly lose his parents or anything, and in the movies, he still has both of his parents, even though he thinks that one of them are dead. But it wasn't his vocal point. He wanted to live a normal life. That's all he wanted. He was just brought into this universe randomly. Like, it was fine because it wasn't this overused thing. That's why it gained $1 billion. Because it was so fresh for people. Another example is like Wonder Woman. It was fine because it was fresh as well. nobody had a tragic life in a particular way. She was a god. She was just brought into this, into Earth, into the real world. Like instead of being with the Amazons, she was with regular people, and she just somewhat followed the culture, and then there, that's what happened. The second movie failed because her loss of her lover was the vocal point. Like, she couldn't get over it. Like, in some trope it works, but in this case it doesn't work, and a lot of it has to do with bad writing, but the bad writing is caused because of it being an overused thing. Like, people, I don't think some people understand what I mean, but honestly, another example I could probably give to, I guess, somewhat make some people understand is Black Adam. Black Adam is a perfect example. If it was like, 10 years from now, if it was like 10 years ago, Black Adam would have been a box office, honestly. I honestly enjoyed the movie. It was fun. But it didn't work because it was a predictable movie. The main one that finds it funny is that I somewhat knew that the father was Black Adam. Cause honestly, I never bought it that bald kid was the Rock. Like, even if child actors will somewhat not really look like the actors the adult actors they become like It, for example. But like It too, they could have edited The Rock to somewhat make the child look like The Rock in a sense, but they didn't because it wasn't the actor. This trope, the Shazam movie would have worked before, but it doesn't work because people are tired of the same thing. I can probably give more examples, but you can probably see my point. Like, this trope would have worked in the past. If Shazam was made like what, 2010, it would have really worked because Hercules was there and people liked Hercules and people would have really liked it because for some reason Shazam and Hercules actually is just the same storyline, honestly. I mean, the ending they might differ in a lot of ways, but honestly, they're just the same thing in my book. Like, if you don't want to waste your money watching Shazam, just watch Hercules. It would have worked a lot better, and also it's a better writing system. Like, it's very well written. The Hercules movie was good. Shazam was a bit terribly written, but it's kind of the same plot line, honestly. If you tell me, so like. That's the reason why I think people really don't want to watch movies. Like, they don't want to go to theaters nowadays because they can expect the same thing over and over again. I might probably make it worse if I release this, but honestly, I just have to point it out why people are not wanting to watch movies nowadays because it's so repetitive. The protagonists are all the same. That's the reason why I don't really watch animes that much. I only watch Jujutsu Kaisen now. I mean, before I watched Naruto and Dragon Ball Z, but I now hate it because it's, well, of course, it's stayed its course. Boruto should never have existed, and Dragon Ball Z should have ended like what, 5 years ago. But now we're having people with blue hair now, and I'm expecting, honestly, a funny thing is that I'm expecting to see a rainbow upgrade, honestly, in Dragon Ball Z. Like, I'm expecting to have a power up of having of like a rainbow hair, honestly, because they're running out of colors at this point. Like, I think Dragon Ball Z will continue until like 2050. I'm like expecting that to happen. But other than that, like, going back to core of the topic, like, the only solution I can see people like going back to watch movies again are to follow the trope of the happy character being brought into this world. Now, I don't want them to be a teleported person from a very sad life, like the sad life, and then after randomly they brought into this luxurious world. Okay, I want them to be in the world, and they like follow somewhat of Harry Potter in a sense. Like, they were not, except the depressed part or the tough life part, they were just a normal person, and then they were called up into the new world, and they fix the world in a sense and become this person, like this interesting character. But I think the reason why nobody wants to create this is because they can't make it interesting. A lot of people just use this trope because they can't solve the problem of the happy character becoming interesting. A depressed character or a person who has a tragic life is just a simple solution. It's just a simple mathematical equation for people to use to make their story. But they just can't solve the string theory like equation of making a happy character interesting, because it's hard to do. I'm personally trying to write a book, and I personally can't do it also. I'm not well trained as a writer, but honestly, I can see why people can't do it. But that doesn't excuse it, because people in the industry, our main reason is to make it entertaining. But if they keep using the same thing, people will hate the entertainment industry for a long time. A lot of people will stay for long to enjoy the series. I think a lot of people will just leave now. A lot of people are just now looking at the old times because they liked it before. Like, they're trying to rewatch the things that made them happy before, but instead of moving forward. But the reason why they're doing that is because the things that they see today are just a carbon copy of what they saw at the past. I can probably give a certain example of what people would have enjoyed today and what people would have enjoyed in the past. Like, if I just use the Shazam example I gave earlier, like Shazam and Hercules are like nearly the same thing, the same plotline. They lost their family. See? Do you see the coincidence? Why do you think people want to watch Hercules more than Shazam? Except for the bad writing, it's just a carbon copy. That's the main reason why it sucked. Okay? Like, it only sucked because of that carbon copy. People don't want to watch today's movies as much as they did before, because basically the new movies are just a carbon copy of what they were in the past. If you look at a lot of movies today, you'll notice that trope. A lot of movies and TV shows are just a carbon copy of what they were before, which is why it's boring now. And the only way they can fix it is by just adapting a new style. They should really try to adapt something new instead of using a tough life and then into a happy life. That's not how it should be. It should basically start with happy and then an interesting story. A book I can see people using now or adapting to fix this is the Magic Treehouse books. They are fun books because they are not a tragic life. They're just normal kids who are brought into an adventure. That would be really cool to actually adapt into a movie or a TV series. That would be really fun, and I feel like that can actually help inspire other writers to use it and then try to make it more original. And I think that will fix the problem with how people see movies today, because like what I said before, the perfect man, the tragic life, and now the happy life and an interesting story. I feel like this would fix every problem people have with movies, and I feel like a lot of people will now enjoy movies and now stop hating it. But if no one's gonna do this, then I don't see any way of this problem becoming solved. But anyways, that's my take. What do you guys think? Do you think I'm just being dumb and this is also a bad take? Just give me your thoughts. And if you liked it, then give this video a thumbs up. If you like my content, I will continue making videos until my summer break ends, and I hope it won't end because it's pretty hard being in college now. But that's just my take. But if you guys enjoyed it, please subscribe. My contents will just vary from my takes on TV shows, movies, books, anime, all other genres. If you guys enjoy it, just give me a thumbs up, subscribe. And if you don't, then you can dislike it and you can just move on and just watch other YouTube videos. But if you do like it, I thank you for watching this video, and I hope to see you in the future. Bye guys!